Check it really quickly. I gotta check. Alrighty. Please stand for Her Honor Geraldine Young.
Oh my god, who put that chair there? Oh. Okay, you may be seated. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to the People's Court. Yes, Blue Lady, you can sit down now, sweetie. Okay, thank you, everybody. Okay, so we're here in session with a court hearing, Mr. Black Scott versus Inspector Cook. Okay. Let me get out my clipping board. Commissioners, there's still some people outside.
They're not coming in.
Oh.
Yeah, there was 3 people out there, but they don't want to come in. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Jury in session. Now, Mr. Black Scott has raised an issue against Mr. Inspector Cook regarding an incident that occurred. Oh! Can you guys hear me at the back? Just FYI.
Yeah, maybe just
Yes, we can.
shout.
Is this loud enough?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
sweet. That's sweet. That's sweet.
Okay. Alright, excuse me 1 second. I got a frog in my throat. Okay, on the 13th of the 7th, that's the 13th of July, if you weren't smart, Buster Black Scott over here, Mr. Buster, the plaintiff, submitted a application to the government, to the High Priestess Courts of all Queensland. Anyways, he is disputing a incorrect use of power slash what you call it, excuse me, arresting and cuffing of himself. Now, Miss Black, did you want to read a statement in regards to Mr. Black Scott's claim?
Yes, Your Honor. Would this be our opening statement, Your Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Black Scott was brutally tackled. He was underwater for multiple seconds, losing oxygen and fearing for his life. My client is not denying the charges that he's been issued towards him. The evidence will show that the plaintiff's lives were at risk due to the negligence of the defendant when arresting the plaintiff. The plaintiff is asking for the defendant and the Queensland Police to go through training on the occasions, like this, and how they can prevent the incident from happening again. The client is not asking for money, he is asking for the defendant to be accepting of his wrongful actions towards the plaintiff.
Thank you, Ms. Black. Okay, so Miss Ms. Black, number two, could you please read your opening statement for Mr. Cool?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon. My name is Mizzle Black, and it is my pleasure to be representing Inspector Jimmy Cook on this case. My defendant stands here being falsely accused of incorrect procedure of tackling and cuffing in regards to Buster Black's arrest. Jimmy Cook was only doing his job as a police officer, and he was trying to keep the city safe. Would like to plead not guilty.
Thank you very much. Okay, so the way that this people's court is going to work is that you, the people behind the plaintiff and the defendant here, are going to provide your judgment on the case. Now, the left side will be for Jimmy Cook, the right side, which is my right, sorry, will be for Buster Black Scott. So once we run through the evidence, you guys will be able to determine whether Mr. Black Scott was in the right, and depending on what should happen with Mr. Cook will play out. If you believe that Mr. Cook was in the right, then
Sit down.
we'll come to another conclusion. Ultimately, the goal of this hearing today is to try and rectify a situation, get public opinion, and hopefully come to some sort of agreement within the community that will prevent these situations from happening again.
Just don't use your phone when you're in.
Okay. Oh, welcome there, Marijuana Man. Yes, take a seat, darling. Okay. Now, Mr. Black Scott, do you believe that you were incorrectly handcuffed in the water?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And Inspector, you believe that you did everything in your power that you think is reasonable to handcuff Mr. Black Scott?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share some footage that we're all going to watch together. So, people of the People's Court jury, please divert your eyes to the Discordia, which I will share this footage. Okay, footage from one Buster. Oh, this is from Jimmy Cook. Sorry. I'll play Buster Black Scott first. Okay, so we see Mr. Black Scott swimming, and Jimmy Cook runs and he dives into the water, tackling. Yes, he's picked up Buster into the shallow and cuffs him. and attempts to escort. And he says, blah blah, I've caught the man in the white mask. Okay. Would we like to review Mr. Blackscott's footage again? Okay, we'll do that again, just quickly, because it's 30 seconds. Jimmy has disappeared. Oh my god, Mr. Rescue Man himself. Oh my god, look at him. Some Baywatch type shit. Okay, so that's from Buster's point of view. Okay. And now we'll watch from Jimmy. Oh my.
You sure?
We'll watch it one more time. That was some damn fast
You
carrying.
sure?
Okay. All right. So now that you guys have watched the footage, Mr. Blackscott, what is your belief that should have happened in that situation?
Your Honor, I believe that the officer Jimmy Cook should have waited until I was in a more safer space, maybe even shallow water, until tackling me, because I was under that water for quite a while, losing oxygen and at danger for my life. And if you see in this footage, you see him draw his taser.
Okay. And Mr. Inspector Cook, do you believe that what is your reasoning for using the actions that you did that day?
I feel like it would be a safer option than using the taser because I didn't know what would happen to him if he got tased in the water. So I now know though. So
Do you believe that it was a reasonable action to tackle Mr. Blackscott while swimming?
I do believe it was a reasonable action because of the crimes he committed before that. Let me remind you, Your Honor, he was used and he robbed the store with 3 hostages. So I had to try my best. Cheers, fucked.
That's okay. Do you, when you tackle an individual, do you take into considerations the terrain and your surroundings?
I do, yes, Your Honor.
At that time, what was going through your head when you performed such a maneuver on such a delicate flower?
Well, I saw he was in the water. It was shallow water. I thought that he couldn't have been harmed
Just gotta
by
be
that.
quick ones though.
It's my thought process.
Make sure you don't use your phone in the courtroom.
Yeah, I just thought he wouldn't be harmed. From what I understand, he wasn't harmed. And I felt like it was a safe option to do so.
Hmm. Okay. Fair call. Members of the people jury, please move your feet. And people at the desks, yes, move your feet.
Jackson, I moved mine ages ago.
Move it at the same time as everyone else, because then, like, we all get the same time, right?
Now,
Hello.
Hey, Nathan.
Stop tripping over me.
Sit down.
now, jury, do you believe? Just pop your hands up. Do you believe that the situation at hand should have happened the way that it did, or should it have been performed differently?
What do you mean by that?
Well, do you believe that Mr. Cook was in the right to tackle Mr. Black Scott while he was swimming?
And put your hands up if you think that's correct.
Yes,
Okay.
Lady Pink White Christina Aguilera looking person.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
I say that it was the right thing to do. Permitted the location and how deep the water was.
Yeah. Okay. What I might do just quickly is I might get some more insight. So, lawyers, if you would like to do questioning, would that help you and the
Yes, Your
jury a
Honor.
little bit more? Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Black number 2 with the white hair and the glasses.
I
Miss-
also agree. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get the plaintiff up first. So, plaintiff, will you please? Would you like to question first, or would you like to be questioned?
I'm more than happy for the defendant to go first if that is all
Okay.
right with them.
Ms. Black Pinky Pink Spot.
Yes,
Okay.
Your Honor.
Mr. Black Scott, if you would like to take the stand, please. Please be aware that you are under oath, and anything you say or do will be looked at in a court.
Can you guys
Of
hear me if
law.
I shout?
Oh yes,
Yes.
darling.
Yeah,
You're very
we can
eerie.
hear when you
I mean,
shout.
ear BP.
Okay. Good afternoon, Buster Black, Mr. Black.
Afternoon.
I just have some questions for you. So on the day of the incident, after you were tackled and handcuffed. Did you ask the officers for medical treatment?
I didn't because I didn't get offered any.
You didn't get offered any.
Didn't get asked how I was either.
Is it true that you also remained silent until the officers were talking to you in the cell?
Hey, firm, that is right.
So you did not ask or make any explanations of having drowned or water in your lungs from the canals to the jail?
Never claimed I had water in my lungs. Claimed I had trouble breathing.
Okay,
I was losing oxygen.
okay. But did you feel like it needed to be medically assessed? It was that bad?
I don't feel like it needed to be medically assessed, but I still to this day have not been asked how I am feeling.
Okay, have you checked into a hospital after the incident? Or
I
did you
have.
check into the prison one? Okay, and do you have any medical documentation from the staff regarding this issue?
I don't, as there was no staff around. Nurse
Okay.
Nancy didn't give me any documentation. I was
Alright.
also in that prison with Jimmy Cook, as he saw me go up to the bed
So you mean the bed of the...
at the prison. Yeah,
Okay. Okay, and... Okay. Alright, that is all the questions I have for now, Your Honor.
Thank you, darling. Mm, plaintiff, judge, grey haired, not so old looking woman, would you like to question your Mr. Blackscott? Are you okay?
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Blackscott, you may take a seat. Thank you.
thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, Inspector Cook. Cabbage Patch, come up here, darling. Okay, yes. Again, remember you are under court law. Anything you say will be taken literal. Blah blah blah. Okay. Yes, Ms. Black. Ms. Black.
Pink black or grey black?
The girl with the. She looks like the Colonel Sanders right now. Please.
Georgie.
Sanders?
Miss Georgie Black. Sorry.
Thank you. Okay.
Sorry, I had a lot of dick in my mouth, so my mouth starts to get a bit jumbly.
Okay.
Okay, darling, you may proceed.
Inspector, can you please state your name for the jury?
My name is Jimmy Cook. Jimmy first name, last name Cook.
Perfect. And your ranking, sir?
Inspector.
Thank you. So, Inspector Cook, during the arrest of the plaintiff of Mr. Buster Black Scott, he was tackled underwater, is that correct?
He was tackled while he was swimming, yes.
Okay. With that, he was then arrested and put into handcuffs, is that correct?
Yes.
At any point after tackling and arresting the plaintiff, did you ask him how he was? If he was alright, if he needed medical assistance?
Negative because he was dead silent the whole time. I didn't talk to him.
Okay.
I just got officer got Commissioner Mark Jones to escort him back to the prison. Escort him back to PD.
And are you aware if the commissioner did ask of Mr. Black Scott's well-being?
I am unaware because I was not there.
Okay. In the depth of that water, was it safe, in your mind, safe to do so by tackling Mr. Black Scott?
Yes, yes.
Is there any protocol within the Queensland Police for tackling within water?
Tackling within water, I would say I'm unsure. That's my answer.
Okay.
Can either confirm or deny.
hmm Additionally, within that body cam, we do witness you pulling out your taser first,
Yes.
and you did hesitate. Is that correct?
Yes.
And why was that?
It was either me tase him in the water or I tackle him in the water.
Okay.
What would you choose?
That's not my decision to make, sir.
Okay.
At this point in time, I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Miss Pinky Black, would you like to question Mr. Poole?
Sure thing. Hello, Inspector.
Hello.
So, on the day of the incident, is it true that the reason the incident occurred was because of Buster Black committing a robbery?
Yes.
And would you say at any point your life was endangered due to Buster having a gun on him?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember what that gun was, sir?
It was a .50.
A .50. Was at any time during this saga was that gun pointed at you or
Not
a
pointed
officer?
at me. It was held out though. It was brandishing.
Okay. Brandishing. Okay. And it wasn't aimed at an officer or anything?
Objection.
aimed.
Relevance.
Relevance?
Relevance.
Well, if we're going to be talking about, you know, one's life and the other one's life and the dangers of life, I mean, it's fair to see how he feels in this dangerous situation.
Continue. I'll allow it.
So, as I was saying, was it aimed at anyone during this incident?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay, and before Buster Black jumped into the canals, how did he get to the canals in the first place?
He drove in his car, and then he crashed his car. Then he went on foot. Then he jumped in the canals.
Okay, and would you say that this crash was a major crash or?
Yes, seeing his tires were popped. Yes.
Okay. So he had the strength to jump into the canals and start swimming away from you guys.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I think that is all I have to ask. Oh, and sorry, just quickly. As stated before from Georgie, you did hesitate to pull out your taser.
Yes.
Can you confirm this for me?
Yeah, I did hesitate to pull out my taser because I never tased anyone in the water before, so
Yep.
I didn't actually know.
Yeah. Okay. So you thought that possibly handcuffing and tackling this this person in shallow water, was safer than sending electrical shocks through their body.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. Cool. Thank you. That's all I have time. That's all I need.
Okay, thank you. Right. Excellent. Was there any more, Mrs. Grey Black?
No further questions at this time, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Inspector Cook, you may take a seat. Okay. Now, jury, what I might do is I might get you as a group to head into the back quarters and we'll have a discussion with each other. Lawyers and defendant plaintiff, if you want to head into the main lobby, we'll give it about 5 minutes while I have a discussion with the jury on how we're going to proceed with the court. Is there any questions that lawyers, defendant, plaintiff, you have at the moment?
Yes, I just want to bring up a question to Buster. He stated before that I witnessed him going to the bed in the prison. I witnessed him going to the bed, but that was to be by side KP. that he wasn't actually jumping in the bed himself.
So
So I
he
don't
didn't
see
properly seek medical attention from the doctor there.
negative. Not that I saw.
Okay.
Your Honor, I'm
Yeah.
sorry to butt in, Your Honor. I did go and see the medical people in the infirmary in the jail.
Okay. Okay. Well, the jury now have that information as well. So, was there any further questions or queries?
No, you're right.
Okay.
I have just
Yes.
one.
Yes.
It was stated that he hesitated to pull his taser, yet in the body cam footage, you can clearly see him holding the taser before he went to tackle. Is that correct, Inspector Cook?
Yep.
Thank you. Just wanted to clarify that.
Okay, wonderful. So plaintiff and defendant, I will require you to work out what you would like your disciplinary charges to be, whether that may be on a city level or a government level, meaning yellow card, etc., etc. Okay, so when we come back, I want you both to state your disciplinary things. Mr. Cook, yours might be a bit different. You might have a suggestion that you want to bring up on in terms of how to proceed, etc. Mr. Black Scott, you might have both. Also, everybody, check your feet again.
All rise.
Yes, we will do the recess when we come back. The jury and myself will come back with the verdict, and you two will be able to state what you would like to happen to the opposite individual, etc. Okay, so let's go do that. So thank you very much for your patience so far. So, jury, if you could please come to the back quarters here and head through the left-hand room there. The right hand, your right hand. Other
right
one, other
hand?
one.
This one.
Other side.
Yes.
Over here.
Alice, you had it right the
Okay.
first time.
And yes, everybody else, you may head out to the front foyer there, and you'll be called back in soon. Mr. Black, Scott, Marijuana Man, and Pinkhead Mohawk,
Ew.
Cappuccino.
You okay,
if you
Stella?
want to be a part of the
Yeah,
jury,
You alright, Sal?
you can do so.
I think at the moment there might not be enough seats, so we just all stand.
Okay.
Can't hear you, Nathan, if you're talking.
Okay, darling.
I have marijuana man on me.
Oh, thank you.
Marijuana man.
Basically, we were trying to figure out whether this, in future, right, if we're looking as a city hall, whether this should be
If you want to be a part of the jury, you can.
applicable for the police force to be able to do, but within reason, whether they could do that in shallow water, etc., etc. They obviously have to analyze their surroundings. But if you believe that they don't, then that's also fine. So it's entirely up to you guys. You guys have some background story as to the plaintiff and the defendant sides. So there's obviously some factors now that we know that, like Mr. Black Scott being previously in a Code 12, which is a mild MVA, which is a motor vehicle accident, and stuff like that. So, you know, you do have some information that you can use to your knowledge. So I want to put that out there to you guys, and
we do want to make sure that we can come to some sort of resolution and potentially, yeah, like I said, change the way that things happen or correct or whatnot. So let me hear your thoughts.
Should we go around the table?
Yeah, go for it.
And Nate, do you want to go first?
So, me and Greg both agree, like, our problem wasn't the tackling in the water. The water was shallow in that area, so Jimmy Cook could easily just jump off the side of it and tackle Buster. It's more the fact that it was handcuffing under the water that we have the issue with.
So with that, Nathan, in the footage that Cook did show, he was actually not underwater when he was cuffed.
Okay.
He was above water. Because so after the tackle, Cook carried him to the shallows where he could stand and then cuffed him.
Oh,
I'm just
Jane?
posting the footage in the general chat for you to review again if you wish.
Thank you.
So my issue was like with Buster's claims that he needed medical attention. Cook stated that Buster had never spoke a word to him about needing medical attention or to Jones. What, like, how were they meant to know that he needed medical attention if he was going to be silent?
But they didn't ask though, did they?
No, so it's like it's kind of on the
That's the
fence
thing,
with
yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's both
Yep.
sides. The
Yeah.
Buster never asked. The cops never asked. Buster never told. Said, "Hey, I
Yeah.
need medical."
Yes, I agree with that. But I think it should be protocol for the police to ask someone that they've just arrested
Exactly.
if they're okay.
Yes.
And for the inspector not to know if it's protocol or not, that's questions my training on the police force.
But it might be something they've never had to deal with before. That's the issue.
Yeah, it wouldn't be something that's in the handbook, so I suppose that's what we're really rolling on today, so just keep that in mind.
But at any point did Buster talk at all during that arrest?
Inspector said no.
No.
But what about with Commissioner? Did he at least say a word to Commissioner or anything?
I have no idea.
Because if he spoke to Commissioner while he was in the cells, why couldn't he have at least said that he couldn't breathe properly and they could have got him medical help?
That's a question we'll have to ask the commissioner.
I don't even think it needs to be asked, to be completely honest, because
Yeah.
I think if a person's in
Yeah.
their right mind and think that they've been injured, they should be the ones to be speaking up. You're responsible for your own health and well-being,
That
not
is
somebody else, unless in a situation that was just dealt with, obviously.
True.
But go on, Alex.
No, I'm just agreeing with what you're saying.
And also, I mean, like, Buster would have had injuries from the car accident before he ran into the canal. So.
Exactly. So basically, what Cook did by tackling instead of using the taser, because we all know, I'm pretty sure most of us have been tasered before.
No, I
We
haven't.
all, well, most of us have. We know with a taser, it locks your body up to the point that if you are underwater, water will easily get in your lungs. And now there it goes again. And then, if you tackle, like a taser has a worse outcome than tackling in the water.
We'll get onto that after this. We just need to know the part about the tackling itself, please.
Yep.
Can
Becca?
I ask a quick question from you, Judge?
Yes, darling.
After this little recess here, are we able, like, they're both wondering, both sides are wondering if they can ask questions after the recess still? Or
Yes.
do they have that option?
What kind of questions do you know?
Not sure. Like, it's assuming I can go ask him again.
Yeah,
but-
can you ask what kind of questions? Just because if it's questions relating to what happened, we may need to go in there now because the jury's discussing the situation. Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
just in case, do we all want to filter back in there really quickly and get them out of the way? I can pull the other two from outside and tell them to come in.
Yeah, or do you just want to quickly ask them and then
Yeah.
just let me know? Yeah, just
Yeah.
ask them what kinds. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Now they've decided they want to ask more questions. My God. Okay.
After we started talking
Yes.
about it.
Just make sure you're on normal voice. 'Cause I
Yeah.
think they can hear through walls. Okay. Yes.
Why
as
don't
you
these
were.
walls be thick so that doesn't happen?
Oh, you're so funny, woman in the trench coat. Oh, shit.
Wow, fuck you, Nathan.
Yes. No, no, no. They don't make their walls hard enough now. I wish they were soundproof. I fucked too many of my associates in my desk. Anyway, so now. Wait. Okay, hang on one moment.
Nathan, you're on whisper. I can hardly hear
Yeah,
you.
can hardly hear.
You?
Can you hear me now?
I can
Yep.
hear you
Now.
There we go.
I have a big butt on me.
Okay, that's
It's
fine.
marijuana
because
man.
The jury want to know some stuff regarding you anyway, so
Okay.
that's good. All right, yeah,
Alright.
we'll bring everybody back in.
Yeah.
Okay, looks like we're going to have some questioning towards the commissioner, so you might get the question that you need from before answered.
Sounds good.
Cool. Right, we'll wait for the instruction. If you want, you can just sit in the jury's quarters to the left there when we head out.
I was just going to
Gonna
ask
be a lot-
something
Ow,
that involves
Miss
a bit of
Blue
everybody.
Dress. Yeah. Yeah, well, easier so you can see. We'll just wait for them to call. Is Mr. Marijuana Man back?
No,
Don't think so.
he's
Oh
still in
my
his head on the loo.
Oh my.
What
That's
did
where
you
I
want to
need to go
ask,
too.
Stella?
Oh, well, we're still trying to vote on this tackling in water, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose when it comes to common sense, and obviously they have to judge their location and surroundings, I was going to say, I think that if they are going to tackle in a what do you call it, perpetrator is above the water, I think it's more than permitted for them to
Yeah.
tackle. But if they are any deeper than obviously from the surface, I do think that they should always be carrying the appropriate PPE, whether it be scuba gear or whatnot.
Mm.
And then I think it still comes down to the situation of how deep they are.
Whisper. Okay.
Whisper.
Jury, you're about to be called out.
And Cook did everything in his
we
power to get him
we-
above.
Can we all agree here now that it should not become a gov issue? Because
No,
technically it's
it's
not
not.
written down.
No.
There's
No,
no
definitely not.
written rules saying that you can't tackle in water, and there's no rules saying that you can't tackle in water. So
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, like this is a city, not a gov.
So
Mhm.
it's up to you whether you want to make it a issue. It was raised in a government ticket as a fail on the officer's behalf. So I mean, the reason why I wanted to bring this as a court thing was to get the city opinion, because I feel like you said, Nathan, it's not actually a ruling. So it would be beneficial to get everybody's opinion on how we look at this from a whole community standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
I feel that there's no rules so far, so there's no issue.
There's no issue.
Yeah.
And from where he came from for that tackle, I'm sorry
Yeah.
to say, but if I was an officer, I would have jumped off the edge to tackle the criminal well.
And especially because
tackle.
Yeah,
yeah, it was.
And as
Buster was not deep enough that the officer couldn't tackle him. He was, as you saw in the footage, he was going up and like with Buster saying it's like he was like in water, he was continuously going back up
Yeah.
to get air.
Alright,
and
you
Cook
go
did
get this.
everything in his
Okay,
power to get
Jury, you
him
may
up
single
and out.
file out to the left-hand
Can
side.
someone carry me? I need to go to the toilet. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, she
come
needs
over
to
here.
take a nice little pee-pee.
That'd be a bit more than a pee.
Oh, she's got to take a
Dr.
number
Rick, near
dump.
me.
After you, my gentleman.
And walk away. And we'll
You're
do
right,
the
Becca.
same. We'll do the same
Uh,
after.
Maybe? No? Yes?
I mean, it kind of works.
It had gavel. Okay, yes, please, please be seated. Okay, so I believe both parties want to interview the commissioner. So, plaintiff, would you like to go first? Fuck, I was on whisper. Yes.
Yep.
Okay, commissioner, you are under oath.
Eddie, can you state your name for the jury, please?
Mark Jones, Commissioner of Queensland Police.
Thank you. My second word question was going to be your rank, but you've already answered that as well.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Commissioner Mark Jones, after watching the body cam that has been provided by both Buster Blackscott and Inspector Jimmy Cook, in your own words and opinion, tackling Mr. Blackscott in that depth of water, was that the correct line that the inspector should have gone down?
In terms of it, yeah, I think that was the correct line considering he's in the video he's tackled from what you would say would be the deepest part and ended up over near the shallow part itself.
Okay.
That would be much more appropriate than using our tasers in that situation or upping that and going to a lethal. There's no purpose of the lethal. There was no purpose of the non-lethal, meaning taser, and tackling to a handcuff is a lot more safer for everyone around that area too.
Perfect. And with that, from my understanding, Mr. Buster Blackscott was handed off to you. Was that correct?
Yes.
Did you ask the welfare of Buster Blackscott at all?
No, I didn't because he was non-compliant with me the whole entire time he was in my custody.
Can you please elaborate more on the non-compliancy, please?
I asked him multiple questions. I didn't get a single response back from him. I read him his rights and asked if he understands the rights he's been read, still non-compliant and not responding to my requests of questions. As soon as we got back to PD, nothing from him at all again until I started reading out the fines.
Okay. So in saying that, would he have been acting upon his own right of, if I remember correctly, anything you do or say can be used against you?
Yeah, but that also follows suit in the beforehand of me reading him his rights that where he was still non-compliant to me.
Okay. Inspector, do you have any body cam of the incident in question from when he was in the cells and before?
Hey.
Commissioner?
Commissioner?
You said inspector. I was a bit confused there.
Oh, my apologies. I apologize, Commissioner.
I do, but there is some issues with that I'm facing with my body cam. After being in that water, it kind of has messed up my components in my body cam, and I have sent that off to go get fixed.
Okay.
Because I did have to pass over in the water to help Inspector Cook out getting Mr. Black Scott up a wall by myself crouching down and picking him up as he was cuffed. And as I jumped in the water, I mustn't have clipped in my body cam right into my vest, and some water has seeped into it.
Okay. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Okay, Miss Pinky Shizzle.
Good afternoon, Commissioner.
How are you?
Good. So I just wanted to ask, because I did ask the inspector the same question, what is your protocol in regards to tackling someone?
Well, in regards to tackling someone, it would be much rather than tasing someone, because you know, in the sense, for some people, depending their age, it can affect them differently, and it's obviously a case that we don't like using our lethals.
Of course, but in the sense of physically tackling someone.
Yeah, it's good to. It yeah.
Okay. I received, because before, when I was asking Inspector Cook about the protocol, he told me, end quote, you don't tackle an individual if they're not in a safe environment to do so. Would you consider that water a non-safe environment?
I
With
mean,
the
if
depth.
it was any deeper, I'd consider that non-safe. It
Mhm.
was to the point of the tackle was to a shallow point in the water. It's not as if he tackled to a deeper point in the water. It was
Going.
you know, yeah, it was going to the more shallow side.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Mm.
when is there an okay place to tackle someone? Realistically speaking, if we want to talk about injury and stuff like that, you know, I would consider tackling in the water to be the most safest place possible if it's in shallow waters.
Okay. And when you had this individual in your custody, when you were taking him back to Gotham, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Did the individual seem injured?
No.
Did he seem out of breath?
No, not at all.
And as you stated before, he did not respond to any of the questions you asked.
Yeah, he was fairly not compliant, and when I was rattling off the list of fines and charges, he was quite aggressive towards me.
Okay, and just in regards to relevance of endangering life, as this is the reason why we are here.
Yep.
How many times has Buster endangered the life of a police officer?
A lot. I can pull up priors if
If you
needed.
can, yeah, if you can give me like a ballpark, or if you have the correct information.
I mean, let me just pull up his file with his prior records here.
Cool.
Most of his fines either have attempted murder police EMS or threatening police EMS. And to be honest with you, there's 2 and a bit pages.
And how many lines per page would you say?
Roughly 8.
8 lines per page for 2
yeah.
pages.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's you know, I guess a fairly ongoing thing if you not ongoing, I would say it's a very fairly common thing.
Yeah. And as a commissioner, obviously, you don't want to put the person in harm that you,
No.
or as a police officer, you wouldn't want to put the person in harm that you are arresting.
No,
That
our
is,
job is, you know, to protect everyone. You know, where if we come across someone speeding, we're going to pull them over to slow them down. You know, what we do is we're trying to help them. Yeah, we might be grumpy at times or whatnot, but we don't want to have to pick someone up that's got into a car accident or done this or that, and we have to see it. We got to deal with it. We got to take it home with us each day.
Of course. No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Any further questions from you, Grey lady?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. I will allow one question from the jury, because I believe they did have a question they wanted to ask. So if a representative wanted to ask a question to the commissioner, if that wasn't already answered, if you can remember.
That question was already answered.
Already answered? Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful. Okay, all right. We'll go back onto the intermission. So give another 5 minutes, and then we'll come back and give a closing verdict. Okay, thank you very much. Jury, you may proceed out to the quarters. Thank you, Commissioner. You may stand down. And everybody else back into the main lobby.
Okay, Pete.
I reckon at the moment we just stand around here.
Yeah, huddle,
and
whisper.
go and whisper.
You seem a bit stuck there.
Just so they don't overhear our conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, I missed
tried,
majority of that
tried.
because I was having a shit.
I missed the
Basically,
question
Buster
I
was
asked.
non-compliant
It was answered, yeah.
with the
Okay.
cops
Mhm.
and wasn't talking until after he was read his charges at the police station.
Was he asked at all by anyone if he needed medical
He did
attention?
not seem injured at all.
Okay.
And I think with the cops, they only really, if he seemed injured, that's when they do check if you're okay.
Can you hear me?
My opinion is I feel that there's a little bit of neglect here because
Yeah.
I believe
Yeah.
that once a
Yeah.
prisoner is handcuffed and detained, it is the responsibility of the officers on scene that whether a person is compliant or non-compliant, that they have some sort of duty of care and that they are required by that point to get medical assistance regardless,
Yeah.
unless that person under arrest is specifying that they don't want to see medical attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
So
feel there is
there's
a little bit of negligence here.
Bentley and Bust also falls back on Buster. It's like, why wasn't he being compliant with the officers?
That is true. I feel that if somebody doesn't respond, though, it is on the duty of the officers at the scene to actually get medical care regardless of the situation at hand if a person
Yeah.
is non-compliant. Because I
Like,
think liability falls on them if something was to go wrong once they're in the cell or once they're in the prison. So just to claim safety on that, I think they should always do it regardless.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. I agree with that.
Agree with that. Yep.
So rolling or tackling, hands up for yes. Keep arms down for no.
Yeah, by all means, tackling in water, great. Great idea.
I'm still a bit 50-50 about it, to be
Considering
honest.
the depth, like they have
Yes.
to take
Like, they had to consider the depth of those canals. We know, like, it's
Yeah, they've got to
It's
consider
enough.
the environment.
yeah, they
Well,
got to consider
well,
the environment, the
let-
canals in the middle. If they're tackling towards the shallows, that is okay.
Let's just say this then: if a person's on the surface swimming, by all means tackle as much as they like.
Yeah.
I think that is more than fair. I think anything within open water or a depth greater than those canals, I would say that they need underwater gear, PPE, all that sort of stuff to go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
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 So everybody's on agreement with that.
Yes.
Yep.
So in terms of consequence for Officer Cook, do you believe that there should be any?
No.
No.
Nah.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think that there needs to be a consequence, but I think adequate training on this new thing that comes in is
Yeah.
definitely needed.
The cops will need adequate training
To do
with
so.
the tackling.
So in terms of water?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Dreadlocks, what were you saying?
I was going to say, and also like making it mandatory that officers have to check on the welfare of their detainees.
Yes.
Yeah, it requires medical attention if the client doesn't respond at all. Should be mandatory that they need to seek medical attention anyway, unless they specify otherwise, because that should get them to talk, correct? I think that's what we're really aiming
Correct.
for.
Correct.
Yeah.
Excellent. And do you believe Mr. Blackscott should get any consequences for his action, or do you believe he's already served his time? And
I think he served his time.
Yeah.
Serve his time.
He's already served the time.
okay,
I think this has
excellent.
brought up something very unique in a situation, and I think it definitely needed to be brought to here for more of a better conclusion. So I think he's definitely done his time.
Excellent. Okay. All right. So we'll go back in. We'll get their I guess claim and counterclaims, and then would one of you like to speak on behalf of all of you?
Nathan
Nathan
can.
just put his hands
Nathan
up.
can.
Because
Nathan
thing
can.
is,
Is it?
Nathan is more trained than all of us in we are.
Why? Could I have
'Cause you're
really
a
had a court
lawyer.
case here?
I don't mind
No,
speaking.
you're a
Yes,
freaking
Mr.
lawyer,
Blackscott.
Nathan.
I also don't mind projecting my voice if you guys.
Yeah.
Nathan.
So either anybody who would
Yeah, I can
Nathan?
do it.
Nathan can do
Yep.
it.
Nathan.
Okay. Excellent. We'll go let the commissioner know, and I'll go have a chat with the other individuals quickly. So just chat amongst yourselves. I believe there's coffee on the table and stuff, and maybe a couple of porn magazines underneath
Ooh,
that
porn magazines?
Nathan.
that
Nathan!
diagram.
Oh no.
Right. 1 sec.
So it's just pretty much new ruling for the police, if I'm
Yeah.
getting this correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
And-
tackling only on the surface. Any deeper, regardless of depth.
Environment
No-
depth.
Yeah, and environments assess situations. They would need proper PPE gear to, restrain a person much deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saying that, I think the individual too would need to have scuba gear because obviously, they're diving down for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So-
basically, the cops will need to assess the situation properly.
Yes.
If they see an
yeah.
individual gets scuba gear on, then they get scuba gear on.
Exactly.
Yeah. Otherwise, if both parties are swimming on the surface, I think tackling is permitted at this point. I
And
think
as
that's a good solution to this.
And especially if they're tackling in water, they have to get the individual medical treatment.
and as we
Yes,
saw,
regardless of whether they speak, unless they waive their medical treatment themselves.
Yep.
Yeah.
and as we saw, Jimmy Cook did once he tackled, he did everything he could to get him above the surface.
And
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. I think
Yeah.
that was the right thing to do, and I think that's what kind of made me say yes to all of this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I will say
Like-
one thing though, and I will mention this: if somebody does get tased in the water, and we come back for another ruling on something to do with tasers, if both parties are in the water, I think we need to all agree that if the situation is that way, that both parties are in the water when the person is tased, I think that the tasee is the one that also needs to fall over in the water because
Well,
electricity
yeah.
does flow
Yep.
through regardless.
Yes.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
Yep. Like, doesn't a tasey have to be on the ground?
yes,
the ta-
I think they would need to be grounded rather
Yeah.
than
Yeah,
being
on
in the
dry
same liquid.
ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes,
Yes.
we are. Your Honor.
Yep.
Oh my god, so exciting. I haven't been this excited since I had my last boyfriend, which was yesterday. And then
You
I
getting
dumped him.
moist, Judge?
Oh my god,
thought
I'm
you were
always
gonna-
moist.
I thought you were going to say an hour ago, Judge.
No, it
You
was
guys ready?
yesterday. Yes, darling.
Okay, they're in.
My last boyfriend yesterday. Oh my god, we went to a slip and slide. I went down his slippery slide, and oh my god. I thought he was using YK jelly, but it was actually real jelly. It's
Ooh.
quite tasty.
Oh my
Mm.
god, Your Honor.
I know. Okay. Okay. Single file, darlings. Like in school. I'm so excited.
Oh, good need.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. You may sit. I was just saying I'm very excited because we have
Wrong person?
Christina Aguilera here in the court with us. So,
Sorry, Nathan.
all right, everybody take a seat. Okay, I am on the arm of the chair. I usually sit on the arm of the chair if I like to rib myself. Anyway.
Why
Okay.
it's called an armchair.
Mm. I have a leather couch too, so it gets quite slippery in the summer. Okay. Miss Black, Miss Georgie Black, would you like to proceed with your closing statement and provide us with your list of consequence to Mr. Cook that you believe he should receive?
Yeah. Jury and the Honourable Geraldine Young, as you've seen throughout the evidence that has been shown by not only my client of Mr. Buster Black Scott, but also the evidence that has been given from the inspector himself. My client was tackled within water that forced him to be under the water for more than 3 seconds, which made him fear for his life as he was losing oxygen. As you know, my client is not asking for money. He is not asking for compensation. All he is asking for is the defendant, the inspector, to be accepting of his wrongful actions and for the Queensland Police to go through training in the occasions like this are to ever occur again. They will have the correct training and protocol to handle this situation. Furthermore, all we ask is for the suspension of up to 1 week of the inspector from coming into the line of duty, and this would be an unpaid suspension. I have nothing further.
Thank you very much, Miss Black. All right, Miss Mizzle Black.
All right. Glamorous jury and glamorous honor. All my client wanted at the end of the day was to protect the city from a gun wielding criminal. Surely you can take into consideration that 3 seconds underwater is nothing compared to the many lives that were hurt by this individual, Buster Black. All my client wants, all Inspector Cook wants from Buster Black is an apology and the suggestion. Sorry, do I need to say that again?
No,
Yes,
fine.
please. We could not hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you.
To the glamorous jury and the glamorous judge. All my client wanted at the end of the day was to protect the city from a gun-wielding criminal. Surely you can take into considerations that 3 seconds underwater, as stated by his lawyer, is nothing compared to the many times that the cops have been shot and hurt by Buster Black. All my client wants is an apology from Buster Black. He doesn't want money. He just wants an apology for all the hard work that he's gone through for this case. And a possible suggestion of a good behavior bond for Buster Black. All he wanted to do was keep the city safe. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay. Thank you very much, Miss Black. Okay. Now the jury have decided on a verdict. We have a representative that is going to explain what the jury have discussed and what they believe should happen. Um, that verdict will be final. They believe that it is within the interests of both criminal and um, police officers and the entire community that this is how things should be perceived. Please don't consider this as a negative experience if you find that it is one. This is a very positive, constructive experience that we should all take back and look forward to doing more of these in the future to try and better the community as one. So Mr. Blackscott, your father, Mr. Blackscott, is going to take the stand now, and he is going to just read out the statement from the jury.
What statement? No one sent me one.
Yep.
What we discussed,
What you
Nathan.
What we discussed, Nathan.
The
Oh my
Blackscott.
God.
I was just making it formal so it looked like you had a piece of paper written in front of you.
Okay. So us as jury have came to a verdict that Mr. Jimmy Cook is not guilty under there is no written rule stating that officers cannot or can tackle underwater. In the place where Mr. Blackscott was tackled, it is shallow. It is not a depth. Right. But we us as jury would like to see that these officers of the Queensland Police Force would have training in more tackling under the water and have the proper gear to be able to tackle underwater, including scuba gear.
Was there anything more, Mr. Blackscott?
No.
Okay.
There was another thing, Nathan, remember about the medical?
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, so Mr. Blackscott did not say that he needed medical treatment, and the officers did not ask for medical treatment. We feel that it should be considered under protocol that officers should be asking suspects if they do need medical treatment at all times.
If I may, Judge,
Yes, Christina.
I can elaborate a little more on this if that's okay.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
sure. If you would like to take the stand. Thank you, Mr. Blackscott.
Sorry, just to elaborate to make this a little easier, we as the jury see that whether a suspect voices their opinion on whether they need medical attention or not, if the suspect is silent and does not wish to say anything at all, it should be mandatory that medics are called to get them to at least checked over, because we feel that it is a duty of care for the police force to do so. If the suspect does eventually speak and they do not want medical attention, I feel that it falls upon the suspect themselves for their duty of care to obviously waive that right. That is all.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Christina Aguilera.
I love you, Christina.
Excellent. Beautiful speech by Christina Aguilera. Okay, so the final verdict. Let me get my clipboard. As per the jury, have decided that Inspector Cook is innocent. He is not guilty of tackling underwater. They believe that he should not receive any punishment. However, they do suggest and they do believe that he and the Queensland Police should receive proper training for underwater-based maneuvers, and also be offering mandatory medical checks upon arresting individuals that may require medical attention. As a further ruling, I hereby order that the Queensland Police undergo mandatory training for underwater-based maneuvers that require different varieties of skills for shallow, knee depth, and waist height water and above the shoulders. This law needs to be written by both the commissioners and the inspector to further be published to the Queensland City Law Guide as to what is applicable when tackling and such. So, example of this, an officer can tackle a individual from the waist down if the water's waist down, but anything from waist upwards. In water height, they must be wearing a scuba suit, if that makes sense. And also ensure that mandatory medical checks are being provided once being detained or arrested. Mr. Black Scott, there is no charges or consequences laid to you. You've already served your time, as the jury have believed. As to you will not be receiving anything further. However, I will say, please do not kill or injure or attempt to murder our wonderful government staff. They are very, very they are doing their duty and their due diligence as much as they can. And please do make sure you speak up if you are injured as well, because I too would assume that you were more than capable of swimming if you're not injured if you've just had a car accident and you're capable of swimming. So the jury did discuss that it is also upon the individual themselves to make that aware that they are injured. Okay, so case closed. Pounding my gavel. Okay, bing, bing, bing. Thank you very much. Thank you to the jury and the plaintiff and the defense and the witnesses here today of the court and the commissioner. I hope this session was quite productive for you all. You are all dismissed. Court adjourned. Thank you very much. I'm going to go smoke a bong with Marijuana Man.
Thanks, jury.
Sorry, you bugged me.
Thank you, jury.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh, fuck. That was interesting.
I think that was very productive in all honesty.
Indeed.
It was. It was, yeah, it was really good.
I think that's going to be a fair ruling for everybody
Yeah.
in any situation.
It's kind of cool to be involved in it, you know, like
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
not like it's not Gov just dealing with it, like they're putting
No.
it